Hello, everybody, and welcome to the As You Are podcast. My name is Leslie Vandergans, founder of Enso Coaching and Consulting, and I'm here with three of the lovely ladies.
Lovely ladies. Gets more professional every time.
It's Ladies' Day. I was going to go, ladies.
I thought, there were so many ways to go. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right.
But here we are. Annie,
Cool.
Kathleen, Libby.
Yeah.
We've gathered here today
On a Monday.
We're going to talk about a mid-year check-in on goals.
Yeah. It's
Because
end of
it's-
June.
Yeah, it's the end of June. I was like, it's July. It is the end of June.
When this comes out, it'll be
it'll be July when it
Yes.
comes out.
I literally had my kids come up to me the other day and they're like, 6 months till Christmas. I was
Great.
like, ease,
Oh,
I was
man.
like, ease up, kid. Like, come
Truly,
on now.
it happens really fast,
It
though.
does.
Yeah.
It does.
The summer
second
is
half
like,
yeah, but I always find the second half of the year is like,
exactly.
Gone.
Which is why it's so important to check in on your goals, like life goals or personal goals. But we're going to talk specifically about business goals because, I don't know about you guys, but I take that back.
You
I
do know about us.
Yeah.
She does actually know.
I was Libby's boss for a very short period of time. And
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but like built an entire plan and then never looked at it again.
mm-hmm.
Has that ever
Yes.
happened?
Oh yeah. I'm working with someone right now
Yep.
who is like, I built it and I'm not going to touch it. And it's like, I don't know. We're going to bring
We
it
should
out.
pull that back out again.
Yeah, let's
I
see
mean,
how
I
it's
think
going.
like hindsight's 2020, like the number of opportunities, like looking back to be like, man, if I'd have pulled the goal sheet out and just checked to see where
we
we
were.
were and how we were doing,
Yeah.
it would have been
Different story,
a
maybe?
different story, but we didn't do that.
No,
a
once you
lot.
set it and forget it. That's
Exactly, which is why we're coaches now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mhm.
We can
Well,
help with
and I
some
think
of
that's always an interesting thing is like I have so many clients who, either they as the boss or their boss, they do some kind of planning and then but I think a lot of people don't take it seriously because
Sure. It's like an activity to do. It's
an
like
activity,
performance reviews,
right?
You
And
know,
they're like this is going to be this one day we have to show up
yeah.
and get there and come up with our goals and put them on
Right.
paper and
Right.
then
We'll do some kind of like goal or some kind of a team building activity
Yep.
up front.
Yep.
And, it's
And
a
then
nice
that's
way for
it.
us to connect. And then, and then we never look at it again. But the reality is like, we all know this, is when you write your goals down, the
Mhm.
likelihood of you going and achieving that shoots up exponentially.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The opportunity that we have then to check in is even greater.
Yeah.
We'll actually achieve the goals. So
Well, and you write them with so much hope. It's the new year.
100%.
It's a clean slate.
Yes.
We've got, big hopes and dreams for ourselves. And the truth is somebody's watching the goals, the financial goals.
Yeah.
Somebody's watching them.
Yeah, that's true.
The
Whether
individual
it's you or
teams,
not.
if
Yeah.
your individual team's goals haven't laddered up to the big company goals, that might be one thing. But
Yeah.
somebody's watching the financial goals. Let's
Yeah.
hope. And if we're not, maybe June is the right time. June, July is the right time
Right.
to
Let's
really
take a
do
look at
that.
it.
back in.
Everyone get your goals out.
Well, and it's
But-
so easy to not, right? Like it's so
Mhm.
easy to just get into the day to day, and I
Yeah.
think that's what we talk about a lot from a coaching perspective. Is we'll go and we'll say, okay, well, what are your goals for this year, et cetera, and then when we get on coaching calls, it's like, well, this drama thing happened,
Right.
and we, like
Mhm.
we had somebody leave the organization, so I got to backfill that
Everything
position.
yeah.
Yeah, and so everything gets thrown off course,
Yep.
and then we lose sight because we're in the day to day. But again, like the whole purpose of setting the goals is for us to move forward
Mhm. Have that big
at a
picture.
larger,
Yeah.
exactly, from a big picture perspective versus like getting caught up in the weeds. And I think
Mhm.
that's like, that's what we get to do from a coaching perspective is bring them
Absolutely.
back into focus on like what the big picture is and where we're trying to go.
For sure. I was like, selfishly as a coach, it really also helps to have that goal sheet or whatever way that we're looking at and reflecting on the goals, that it's like we're in those weeds, as you're saying, and just being able to guide things back to that big picture.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we just kind of thought we would talk about this a little bit today simply because it's a good opportunity to pull the
Yeah.
goal sheet out and to really look and reflect at what could be pulling you off
For sure.
course,
I also think that there's the, when is it time to to reassess? And there's
Mhm.
kind of that, if things aren't going like the way that we had planned, what is how do we reassess and make this goal still work? And in that kind of resistance to changing like what the path.
course or whatever.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. Well, I think that's, one of the things that we talk a lot about is, we set the goal, whatever the goal is, and then what we teach from a coaching perspective is you identify strategies, and the way that I define a strategy is it's a bet. Like it's essentially a bet against, if we do this, then we'll achieve the goal.
Mhm.
And again, the goal doesn't change. Our strategies can pivot,
How we get
and
there,
really the
yeah.
tactics is what actually changes. But like when we think about strategies, we're essentially saying, okay, I'm putting my money on this strategy to be the thing that's going to move the goal. And we had Annie and I had a boss a long time ago that used to say, like, let each strategy be strong enough to actually impact the goal,
Yeah.
which I think is a really powerful way to look at it,
Yeah.
because then you're not just making one bet. We're playing red and black,
Yes.
and odds and evens, and whatever.
Put it all in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To make sure that at least something that we're doing is getting us on the right path.
Mhm. And be willing to look back and say,
Yep.
okay, the strategy, I think to your point,
Yeah.
our strategy, this one
This
is
one's not
making progress,
working,
and we
right.
can measure it, and we can say it's actually making progress. And then what's squeaking behind me? Is that
I don't
I
know.
know.
I don't
Something is
know. I was
definitely
hearing something squeaking, but I was hoping it wasn't a mouse. So that's why I was kind of trying to
Here's
ignore
the
it.
thing. I internally was very worried that it was a mouse, and then I know how dear friend Leslie feels about mice, rats,
It's
anything
just
in
not-
between.
It's not a good.
I was like, when is
it
going
would
to be
not
the
go well
point
for anybody
when
if it
she's
was
going to leave? I was like,
But the squeaking's gone now.
The squeaking's gone.
It ran away.
okay, as long as
whatever.
it's not a mouse. But if we're willing to hold ourselves accountable to actually saying, okay, Leslie's the big bet that Leslie really wanted us to all do, it's not working.
mhm.
Truly.
And the only way that we can do that is if we're actually setting metrics for
Yep.
each of the strategies and being willing
to
to
measure
say,
along
okay,
the way, right?
okay,
Yeah.
this one
Absolutely.
is actually delivering, this one's not, and then have a little bit less ego than sometimes we have, where it's like, well, no, that's the plan
No,
that I
we
set,
agree.
and
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
to keep going. We
Yeah.
have to keep going.
Because I could
We
be
ha-
wrong.
Right. We have to kind of upfront decide how long are we willing to let this play out, and what is,
Yeah.
and sometimes not throw it out too fast, because I think
Yes.
that's something that we're also can be guilty of is, well, results didn't show
Yep.
up, and we've been doing it for 2.5 months and we're done.
We have to.
How many
pivot.
of our best ideas do we toss
We need,
out?
like,
because
what's an appropriate
Right.
amount of time to let this
even though
work
had we
or
thought
play
about it,
out?
we'd say it's probably going to take 6 months for
Yeah.
that strategy to really play
To
out.
see
And
the
how many
change.
teams are we going to disrupt,
Yep.
and how many resources are we going to throw away because we didn't decide up front how long it might take for that to
Yeah.
And this is
deliver.
that why piece that we talk a lot about. The like what is going on with the strategy, and maybe why is it not
Right.
taking quite yet?
Yeah, exactly.
And the why is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the people?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a skill gap? Is it there's some
Mhm.
weird stuff going on between two departments and they just can't get it together? Is it the market? And I think slowing down will, if we're
figure
just
out-
making a decision at the
Highest
goal level,
right?
we're going to start making weird decisions about
And putting band-aids
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
things that
Truly.
are the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That need surgery.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I feel-
Go ahead.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead.
I'm just thinking about like honoring past self a little bit, where it's like honor that self that said this is the goal, these are the decisions we've made, and that had that thought, right? Rather again than moving on, that it's
Yeah.
like there was a reason we did this in the first place, and tapping into that. What was that reason?
I think that you point to a really good point, Kathleen, in that I think that there are a lot of executives that are out there that have a hard time like really leaning into the bet, right? It's
Yeah.
the fear of, but what if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
What if this is the wrong thing? What if we put resources towards this and this falls apart, right? Like
Yeah.
there is that kind of fear of what happens if. And I think this is like the thing about leaning into the goals and continuing to measure kind of incrementally along the way is the more that we pay attention to that, the easier it is for us to start to see when we're trending in the wrong direction or if something is ineffective, and we can pivot before we sink the entire company on one particular strategy or two strategies,
Sure.
right? And I think a lot of times the reason why there's fear there is because we're not doing an effective job at looking at what are the goals that we're trying to achieve, and then what are the results that we're seeing along the way that are telling us or indicating to us that we're heading in the right direction.
And are we talking, our leaders, are we talking to our teams about why it's not working?
Yeah.
Because there's,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pressure in leadership to make there is, I don't think. There's a ton of pressure in leadership to make the big decision and to, you've got the pressure of all the goals. And sometimes we forget to slow down and go to Leslie and Libby about the project or the strategy that they've really been leading up or driving and saying, why isn't it working?
Yeah.
What's missing? Is there a resource? Did something happen? Did you just forget? And
Yeah.
Right.
and there might be one thing that we could change that we're not gonna get there if we're not having the conversations beyond just a
The goal
few
level.
leaders
Check the box.
looking at a
Yeah, yeah,
spreadsheet.
yeah.
And I think that sometimes the panic of not hitting the number can make us very quickly want to go, okay, well, if we cut this, and this,
Yeah.
I mean,
there's the dollars that we're going to
There it
save,
is.
and we're losing
Yeah.
all the opportunity that could be sitting there if we just tweak one or two
100%.
things and have one or two conversations.
for sure. I'm just thinking about the race to action that maybe sometimes people will feel where it's like something just has to change. So like, let's quickly just make a decision
Right.
without necessarily thinking through, okay, what are the greater implications
that
of this?
mean?
What does it
Right.
mean?
Right. We don't always, and I do think that's like, that's the blessing and the curse of, sitting at a high level where you're looking at things from a big picture perspective, is you can see if we tweak this could impact the organization as a whole, but we're not necessarily thinking about the downward implications or like what could happen to the
Yeah.
organization or what that could actually cost,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. And I think to your point, just slowing down and being really methodical about how we actually approach the change is part of the process.
Absolutely.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
I mean, what business do we not talk to that mentions some form of organizational whiplash?
100%.
And that's
right.
felt throughout the company too.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah,
much
truly.
how much progress does that stop while everyone's trying to, their change is necessary. We all
Right.
have to
Yeah,
adjust.
absolutely.
The market's going to change, things are going to change. We're all going to have to adjust. But when that's the constant response is, panic, now we have to shift everything,
sure.
change everything, new
Yeah.
strategy,
And then
and you don't have the confidence to, or I don't know if confidence is the word. I think it's a little bit, but the
Yeah.
confidence in yourself, your team, the decisions
Yeah.
that you've made, to honor the thinking that you put into it, to really invest in it,
Yeah.
not just, well,
and then how that trickles
didn't
down
work.
to affect buy-in.
Totally.
Yeah,
I was going to say
right.
trust is a
Yeah,
big piece of
because
it.
because if you're constantly being told, run this way, no, we're going to run this way, now we're going to run this way, it's
Yeah.
losing that. I think leaders are so afraid of being wrong or having to like change course, but I think that the real thing that happens is just losing that trust, not from them being wrong. That's not where that breakdown comes. It's from constantly just people being jerked around and
Right.
changing directions multiple times without maybe having the evidence or
Yeah.
the facts to back it up.
well, what do leaders are always, I have said it
Mm.
more times than I wish. I'm just trying to protect the team from all of it. I'm just trying to protect them. So in protecting, we're not sharing
Yeah.
all of the information. We're not sharing.
Truly.
We're not sharing what's really happening, or we're diluting it in a way that feels, not scary or, consumable by the entire team.
Right.
When I've found the more information that you can provide,
Yeah.
the ideas or this is what's really happening. That's when
Exactly.
We're
The
making that
answers
change
come in.
because we're losing money rapidly.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
Yeah.
these people are,
These are
everybody's
adults.
adults.
Yeah.
I was
Right,
just going to say, I was like, we can
Yeah.
trust that they can
Yeah,
handle
they
it.
can
and then
handle it.
And
I mean, they're
sometimes
here.
knowing how serious something is or the
Yeah.
state of business or, like, is this change, we made this to like save your jobs
Yeah.
or we made
100%.
this to do, that's something that, oh, okay, so maybe like it's not, you didn't make this change just to annoy me
Yeah.
or
Or because
Yeah.
you're like a capitalist
Well,
freak
right,
or whatever,
right.
like
Sure.
whatever, right?
Well, and it's also what can you do at every level of the organization when it comes to that mid-year point? And if it just feels like it's happening at the leadership perspective,
Mm.
then we're taking away, I don't want to say like taking away agency, but like
I think the
opportunity.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think, I think this is one of the things that is important as part of this mid-year check-in is that the team is involved in evaluating and looking at what happened and what progress is being made and what's working and what's not working.
Yeah.
And, you used the word earlier, Annie, ego, right?
Yes.
I think that when we are looking at metrics and we're looking at progress, ego gets to be removed because it is just about the outcomes and it is just about what's right and not who's right. And I think that's where things can get conflated is when I have all the answers, and I think this is just, I feel like we've talked about this in every episode, but like
Probably.
AI is like really removing the necessity for somebody to be the right, smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
And so like,
what are you doing with the information becomes
100%. And so this idea of me having the right answers and me looking good because I have all the right answers in the context of the business
and
or
me
what
doing it
direction.
quickly.
Yeah, exactly. That value starts to decrease because we have tools like Claude and ChatGPT and all these other tools. And so now it's truly about analysis of what our progress is and what's actually speaking to our customers and how our people are engaging, et cetera. So just even sitting down with the team and saying, here's where we are, here's what's happened, let's do an evaluation of whether or not these strategies worked. What do we need to pivot? How do we continue to move forward? And what do we need to measure going forward? No ego, just becomes about the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
And
Yeah.
no ego. It's so easy to say.
Just get your ego out of there. It's fine.
It's
Just
so
check
easy.
that.
Because
It's
I'm
easy
like,
to say.
right. But if it's my idea, I'm still gonna. If the thing that we are gonna cut because
If it's
mid-year
my
check-in, as easy as it sounds, they just don't have an ego. It's just about the results. It's tough.
yeah.
I think people are,
That's
and
where we come
want,
in.
Yeah.
we exactly, and we want people to be emotionally attached to their ideas at some level. You want to have
Sure.
people who
That
are
buy-in.
really,
Right.
they have a passion for it, and they really do believe that it's the right idea. And we also have to be willing to measure and have. So I don't know that as much as I wish that we could all say, "Oh, I'm just not going to have an ego about it." We have to have tools that say,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
while I still believe it was the right idea, maybe it's not the right idea now, or maybe there's another
100%.
idea that's delivering at a higher level than my idea, or less resources need to go towards that. Because ego is it's a tough one.
It's a
We
tricky
want
one.
people. I've never had success working with people who don't think you want them to
be
love,
passionate
to
about
care
their
about their
idea.
idea.
Yeah.
Truly.
We struggle when teams are like, meh.
I don't know. You could or you couldn't. Do it
Yeah,
that way
fair.
or don't.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Yeah.
So, yes, ego can get in our way. And I also think that I don't know if ego is the word, but the passion for the ideas is a really strong thing that we want to protect too.
Right.
But
it's a good balance.
Well, yeah. And I'm just coming up with the idea of reframing here too, right? That it's like, how is that an opportunity for a reframe when there is maybe that ego that could be in place? That it still says that you tried. It still says you have that passion, that level of investment, and how coming to an opportunity can you now pivot and come up with the next thing?
Yeah. I had a professor at UT tell me once that no idea should ever go in the trash, right? And I think this like applies to a multitude of different things, right? But like just like you said, Annie, like just because this strategy or this idea or this thing didn't work this time,
right?
We don't trash it completely. Like,
right.
We put it in a parking lot or we put it in a, a
put it in a parking lot?
Oh, like a parking lot of ideas.
The idea parking lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay.
I love a parking lot.
Yeah, great.
I should have specified.
I didn't know why. Oh, great.
A parking lot of ideas.
We're parking on the idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a list of things. Like, do we try this later? Is this something that we could, does it make more sense? Yeah, parking lot of ideas.
I just didn't know everyone had a parking lot of ideas. So now I'm spiraling because I don't have a parking lot for mine.
Well, this is the opportunity.
Well, mine goes somewhere else. It's not a parking lot.
It's a what is
It's like a waiting room.
I keep wanting to call it Schrodinger's cat. It's not. What is the box?
Pandora's box.
Pandora's box. I was like,
The
if
cat is
this
dead
is-
inside the box.
Yeah.
I know.
Oops.
But there's a box still. You
There's a
knew.
box.
Yeah.
That's where your ideas go.
No, mine are in a wait.
Schrodinger's cat.
Mine's
Pandora's
a waiting
box.
room.
Yeah.
A nice waiting room.
But you know what?
With
If
some
it is a
elevator
waiting
music.
I
room-
imagine Beetlejuice's waiting room.
Maybe.
Yeah, with the little head on
Yeah.
that person. But I mean, like, if it is like coming
That's
back
going
to
to be
this,
the clip
yeah.
we use.
It's so hard. It's hard to keep up sometimes.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
with this side of the room.
Don't. Bring us back, Kathleen.
No, I mean, and if it is in a box or if it is in the waiting room, however we say, or the parking lot, this goes back to that idea of like, it's not gone forever. Come
Exactly.
revisit it.
Yeah.
What perspective do we gain that brings new insight to those ideas? That it's like, what, as Annie's been saying, like maybe what were we missing before that when we look at it again, we're able to make the connection.
What would you guys say is the biggest reason why people don't do mid-year check-ins?
I think, sorry, I'm like,
You get it?
I just am a little bit like distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? That it's like we're in the thick of the day to day and, you know, all of a sudden it's end of June, beginning
Yeah.
of July.
Yeah.
That it's, that it's very easy to get swept in.
Yeah. Other thoughts?
I mean, I do think distraction is a big one, like other things. And I also think that there's especially if you know that you've abandoned things like that.
The fear?
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
want to come back to that
For
because then
sure.
how do we look if we like absolutely
Didn't
Like,
even do any of
didn't
the
even
things?
do any of
Yeah.
it or went a totally different way? So I think that also plays into it too. Is just that
Yeah.
you know,
I think fear is
having to
Yeah.
a real
confront.
thing
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
That shame.
Yeah. Shame.
Mhm.
What do you think, Annie?
Yeah, shame. No, I do think it's when we put it down on paper in the beginning of the year, we have the best of intentions and we think really hard about it. And it's if you keep it in front of you as
Yeah.
a daily, this should be driving my priority every day,
Yeah.
it's less scary. If you've just put it to
Yeah.
the side but the business is having a mid-year check-in though, guaranteed. Somebody, whether it's the CFO or the CEO or somebody's looking at it
Everybody's
going,
looking at it if you're not.
Yeah.
are we where we need to be financially and or big company goal wise? Somebody's looking at it. So I don't think there are many CEOs out there that are like, well, I don't know where we are mid-year. Somebody knows.
Yeah.
We're watching a bottom line for sure. If our teams at the beginning of the year aren't as connected to that big goal of the company, it's easy for those annual plans of our departments to feel kind of
Yeah.
silly. There were a few years in my career where we, put big plans for the year.
Yeah.
Maybe newer in my career, I'm not sure how connected to the company goals the big plans that my department had
Mhm.
were.
Mhm.
They were great ideas that we wanted to do. We thought they'd be valuable for the business, but how connected they were to the big goals that the
Yeah,
leaders were
truly.
really stressing out about, I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I
The-
know.
Well, and I think that's part of
But
yeah.
the clearer we are, and I think that is on leaders at every level to really get inquisitive and really understand the business that we're in and
100%.
And
really
how
understand
everything
how
kind of
does
rolls
my
leads up.
Yeah.
how
Well, and
does-
I think we have to think of it like a pyramid, right? Like what is the
Mhm.
big goal, and then how does my team, or how does the executive team really think about what are the things that we need to do as an organization to
That
move
fit into that.
things closer to the goal, but then what does my department then need to do to then support
Yeah.
Yeah.
these larger objectives or the direction of the organization? So we have to be thinking about it as
Mhm.
truly connected.
well, and
And I think it's a practice,
we
right?
hear both sides. We hear, well, nobody told me
Right, right.
from leaders, and then we hear, well, my team isn't doing what they need to do. And on both sides of that are just a communication issue.
100%.
Did
you-
Well, and who's responsible?
Did you
right?
communicate the vision and the strategy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who takes ownership, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or
And-
do you have curiosity? You're asking the questions. And I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, there's probably improvement that can happen on both sides.
On both sides,
most of the time.
truly.
Yeah, because how often too do you have? I mean, I also have a lot of mid-level managers that they are ready to go with their plans and things, but it's not happening up here.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
So
so
that's
we
where
have,
we
like,
have to
yeah.
we have to get curious and we have to like think about how we're managing up
So it's
to
like,
that or asking
that's
questions.
great that you
and-
want to do that.
Yeah.
And like, it's hard to set those goals when,
Not everybody's aligned.
yeah. Yes.
Aligned. Well,
The
and I
word of the
think
mid-year.
it is.
Yeah.
Alignment. There you go. Alignment.
Today's episode is brought to you by alignment.
A.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna think of that Sesame Street song, but
I
I
was
can't. No,
I was
can't.
going
I
there
don't
with you,
remember it.
but
It's
We're
been a
not
while.
allowed to
Too
for
far gone.
copyright.
Oh yeah,
Anyways,
true.
there
That's
you go.
right.
I'm
That's
making
right.
that up.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
No.
HBO will come and get us.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, and I think Kathleen, to your point earlier about distraction, one of the things that we talk a lot about, when we're supporting organizations and teams and in developing their mid-year goals is to not forget the business as usual piece.
Yep.
Because I do think this is what happens, right? Is that we're like, okay, well, we're going to go do all of this stuff. We're going to project
Yeah.
manage this new thing. We're going to launch this new product and we're going to go do all this stuff. And then it's like, yeah, but we still have to keep the wheels a turning.
Yeah.
And I think, I want to hear what Annie has to say about running a marketing department, right? But like from an HR department standpoint, it's like there is 8 bazillion things that are still happening. Like
Yeah,
we
there's-
still have open enrollment. We still have to onboard people. We still have to hire and recruit and retain people. We still have to do all this. And then it's like on
Performance
top
reviews,
of
all of the things
performance
people
reviews,
are having.
performance management,
People
employee
with their
relations
HR
issues. They get
issues.
like you're dealing with all the like paperwork and the ADA accommodations and
Yep.
FMLA and all that stuff. None of that stops.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
still has to happen. Then on top of it, it's like, well, what efficiencies are you creating? How are you going to support this big initiative that we have? We're going to like launch this new program in X, Y, and Z. We're
Yeah.
going to like spread to, like Phoenix or whatever. How are we going to do all that stuff? And it's like, okay, I have to be thinking in 2 buckets. I've got to be thinking about how do we keep the wheels turning? How does all this stuff continue to move forward? And where do I create space as a leader for like the
Like,
new initiatives that are going to continue
yeah.
to move the organization forward? And that's a hard thing. I'm curious.
No, it's really hard. And there are some things we can never stop doing, for sure. I think we also make that up a lot in our heads. Well, we have to keep doing all these things. And I think that if we really do slow down and say, yes, we do still have to do those things, is there a way, can we do it any better than we've done it? 'Cause
100%.
Yeah.
every department has done it. Over the years, we've added a person, we added another person, we added another person, or we added a thing. I think if we really do slow down and say, okay, is there a way that we could do this better? Or are there things that we're doing that we probably don't need to do anymore? I think we make up a lot of that. We have to keep doing that thing.
Right.
And one of the things that I find in our careers, it was what do we need to say no to? Everything that you say yes to, you're
Truly.
saying no to something else. But I don't think that we intentionally stop and say, okay, what are the things that we can actually just stop doing and nobody would notice?
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Right.
nothing would actually break. Or
yeah.
we've overcomplicated this process.
Totally.
And
Where's
maybe
the
we could,
efficiency?
could we
Well, and I-
stop
and I
doing these
think-
5 steps and we'd still get
it
get
done.
Well,
enough?
and that's part of the department's responsibility is to be
Yes.
like, okay, so now if we've identified, okay, well, we need to create an efficiency, let's say around recruiting, the recruiting process.
Yeah.
If we need to create a efficiency around the recruiting process, well, that's a project, that's a strategy that we've got to deploy inside of the department. And so, how do I make sure we make space for that so that we can free up the bandwidth to then go be working on something else? And I do think like these are all like trickle effect things, but we have to be really thoughtful
Yeah.
about what that's going to take and what the lift is, because changing a recruiting process for me may be really, really easy. Maybe Libby's team is going to have to
reality of it,
do
yeah.
whatever. But then it's also, okay, but then we got to train all the managers on what the new process is. And then we've got to like really evaluate whether or not this process has been efficient and blah, 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 blah. So there's all these other kind of after effects of that. But that's our responsibility. And so again, like I think if we have those 2 things in mind, what's business as usual and how are we thinking about moving the needle forward there, but then also like impacting the larger
Which is
organizational
hopefully where
objectives.
AI is starting to enter
Yep.
most departments. That is because as much, and we've talked about this a number of times, as much fear as there is that every one of our team members has around, and ourselves, will I eventually be replaced by insert AI tool or whatever?
Yeah.
Right now, the greatest opportunity for everybody is to become the how can we become the baddest HR team that has ever existed, because we're leveraging tools that makes us 3 times more efficient and still putting the human at the center. Because boy, am I seeing more and more people complaining about the hiring process, the more and more that I hear you talk about it.
Good.
Yeah, so there's over
Recruiters, stay
efficiency.
put. Your time to shine is coming
Yeah,
back.
so there's some efficiency that we're probably going to need to pull back on a little bit, where we put humans back into the human, human resources.
Yeah.
Feels like humans should be involved there.
Yeah.
But
In the name.
yeah, but I do think that is where there is opportunity, is now that we have all these tools, and I think marketing teams are seeing it. Unfortunately, I think it's happening to more marketing teams than marketing teams are driving it. Like people are saying, well, we can shrink them now. And now,
exactly.
I think,
pendulum will swing.
Yeah. And I think it is the responsibility of the departments to say, okay, there is a massive opportunity in the world for us to leverage in tools, get more efficient, get better at what it used to take us 10 hours to do. Now it can take us 1 hour to do. That doesn't mean remove the human from the process. It means how can the human be 10 times quicker than they used to be at this thing.
And what does that free them up to do?
That does give you space.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now you're not doing the, whatever the process is, or the annoying, very physical tasks or whatever it is. But what can that free you up to do? And how can you be strategically thinking about moving things forward?
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Because business as usual, I remember I was probably the most annoying at we have business as usual.
That phrase BAU makes me it makes me,
leaders
when I
are
hear it,
that
makes me mad.
And it's not sexy. I think about tech teams, technology teams all the time, right? Because there is so much stuff that is not sexy, and it's not necessarily moving the needle forward, so to speak.
But someone's got to staple those.
It's got to happen. It's work that has to happen, and that's work that sometimes gets neglected. And also, it's infrastructural work that if this stuff starts to fall apart
until it's a problem,
right? And I think that's the other, that's the other thing that we've experienced, which is it's not a problem until it is. It's never a problem if we're not thinking about it. If we're not saying, "Oh, HR is falling apart," or the marketing team is not delivering good, X, Y, and Z, or the tech, email's working just fine. Nobody pays attention to it until it falls apart, right? Or until somebody is not focused on it. Then we start to see the cracks in the foundation, which is nobody wants to fix foundation.
Yeah.
Right.
So how do you build a annual plan for your department or for the company that business as usual is just because I think that's the trap, is when all of the big annual plans are all net new. These are all the big ideas that are gonna change the world, and then we all have this and then there's business as usual. How do you, when working with clients, how do we make sure that the annual planning that we check back in on mid-year, the running the business, the BAU is a part of that.
Yeah.
Because it is.
I do think
every year you might not need a brand new strategy.
Yeah.
Truly. I think part of what helps and this is kind of what we when we're working with large organizations around this, what we try to do is we'll say, okay, if we're going to create all of these net new things, we've got to get back into a room with the entire team, because again, especially at the executive level, a lot of the strategies or the objectives that we're putting together are going to be cross-functional. And so this is where we have to, as an executive team, have to say, realistically speaking, what are we asking of the tech team and the marketing team and the HR team and some of the resources or services departments inside of the organization? What is realistic for them to be able to do, and how are we going to prioritize these asks? Because again, a lot of it's going to hit technology, marketing, HR, maybe finance, compliance, maybe. And so it's our responsibility as an executive team to sit down and say, okay, well, this is the priority of the objectives that we've identified and what the trickle-down effect is going to be of the asks. But then I also think it's really important for us to identify who are the sponsor, who are the executive sponsors, or who are the people that are responsible for these pieces. Because then if we start to see the same name over and over again, it is just a forcing function for us to say, okay, I've just named Kathleen the project lead of 8 different projects, and she still has her same old Jibby job. that she's got to do.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know. Those are the things that immediately come to mind. Do you have any other strategies, or how do you think about it?
No, I think that's right. I think the annual planning feels, I think sometimes, and you guys talked about it at the very beginning, we all get in a room and we all,
So good.
there's almost a pressure to be like,
Yeah.
well,
Come up
Kathleen,
with
what's
something.
your idea?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah.
we know that's a great exercise, but this like arbitrary, well, now it's January, and so we need
New ideas.
all
new
these
ideas
Hurry.
as opposed, right, as
How
we're
good
saying.
did you do with the old ideas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Like,
Great point. Great point. And I do think
Yeah.
I think part of the annual review process, which we can talk about another time, but like part of this annual
Riveting.
review process is
We're
riveting.
gonna, guys,
People
stay
are all-
tuned. We're gonna have a
They are
whole
on the
session
edge
on
of their
annual
seats.
review.
Yeah, sounds fun.
But
I think we
truly,
should do Libby's. It should be like a
Yeah.
role play, and we
Perfect.
should just
right.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh man, I just thought of something that was really funny. Maybe we'll come back to this at the end of the session. That was really funny, just thinking about role plays. But now I lost train of thought.
We're thinking about end of year annual
Oh,
reviews.
end of year.
Yeah.
Well, part of I think the process is to be really thinking about how did we do last? Like,
Absolutely.
what is the reflection?
Yes.
Because if we don't take take this moment to truly reflect on like, how did we do at setting goals? Did we set the right goals? Did we
Yeah.
set too many goals? Did we set not enough? Were they not ambitious enough? Like, et cetera, et cetera. If we're not doing the reflection piece of it, we're just going to continue to repeat ourselves. This is like the
Absolutely.
definition of insanity, right?
Also, mid-year, what a great time to turn the boat around before
It doesn't just have to
it's-
be end of year.
Before it
Yeah.
hits the iceberg.
Before it hits the iceberg. Exactly. That's also another clip. You're welcome for that.
Yeah,
You got
so
two
much.
of them.
I'm new here, and it's just you know,
Well, you're doing
I'm
great.
just
Annie.
There's a lot.
yeah. You just kind of have to pause and just let them
Yeah.
Get the weird out.
accents and parking lots and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to talk about annual reviews right now, but I do think
I don't. Yeah. Also, tell me when that is because I don't want to be here.
I'm sick that day.
yeah, I do think that the people part of it is incredibly important at the mid-year check-in, that we're
Yeah.
also having conversations with it's not just a spreadsheet exercise or a did we or
Truly.
didn't we exercise, that we're also sitting down with the teams and going,
Yeah. This is
how's it going?
That's what I also.
And back to just communication, I think that the people will tell you a lot more about what's happening in your business than we sometimes actually slow down to do because we're all
Mhm.
stressed out. But I know that when I've treated annual planning and or annual reviews, whatever it is, those moments that feel like we really should make these big and important, we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, yep, Kathleen, you did great this year. Keep it up.
yeah.
This, yeah.
This is that other C word that we love with the curiosity.
was
So
like,
as we were saying too, the like, let's be curious about why you did great this year, and not
Right.
just be like, you did great, moving on.
Exactly.
Or worse, you didn't do so great, and I'm not really going to tell you.
Why
Why?
or
We just-
what you could have done,
Yeah.
differently, or
I also think treating, the goals, and I always, kind of tell my clients and things like this is a living document.
truly.
Like
Yeah.
this is not like we're not like carving it in stone. We're not like this is to be edited
Edited and adjusted.
and adjusted.
Yeah.
And that is the point.
Yeah. Except for the goal.
Except,
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
But
like,
everything else.
how we're getting there, what makes like all of that is
Yeah.
living, breathing, like as people come onto the team, as you lose people, like things are going to change.
They have to adjust.
Yeah.
Right. Truly.
Truly.
What?
I was just going to say, how many of the folks that you talk to on a daily basis are really have their annual plan in front of them? Because I know in our past lives, it was if it didn't fit on one page of paper,
It's
you
out.
couldn't even turn it in.
Right.
Because if you have
Right,
to walk
well,
around
and
and memorize a binder, you're never going to look at it again.
Well, and even when we would create it on a one-page paper, it would
right.
we weren't purposeful about going back and revisiting it halfway through the year and making sure that those were the right things, et cetera, like, and it's a natural trap. And I think that's the opportunity here, is to make sure that we're all moving in the right direction and making an impact and doing the things that we said we were going to do.
And that is where I do think that it's also so critical that not only are we creating the annual plans, but the departmental annual plans or the divisional annual plans, whatever that is, that's not just we'll turn them in,
and never look at it
turn them
again.
in, and nobody's reviewing them. We're not
Yeah.
taking them
Mhm,
seriously from a
mhm.
leadership perspective, because now we've got Leslie and her team running around doing their thing, and it has nothing to do with what I believe is the priority, because we didn't slow
100%.
down and go, okay, Leslie, let's really talk about this. And I think that
Exactly.
we have fallen into that trap many times. I know that a lot of businesses do, where we treat annual planning as a refresh, and I think that that's great. Everybody sits down, they come up with their plans, but are we really taking the time to put them all on the table and go, okay, do they actually
Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
do
when
they
I
mesh
turn to
together?
Leslie's team and I tell her
Mhm.
these are the 14 things I need them to
Absolutely.
do, they should already kind of be on the plan.
I should know.
Yeah.
Right. Truly. And that's the trap, is like we just go in isolation and go build
Right.
these things and then
Mhm.
just start running,
Mhm.
and they
And
make
that's
no
on-
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, on both sides. but-
Yeah.
And I think about resources as part of that,
Right.
Mhm.
right? Like if we are prioritizing what is the resource allocation when we're looking cohesively across teams.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Papes.
So are we going to do our mid-year check-in
Yeah,
right
let's
after
do it
this?
right now.
Right now.
Perfect.
That sounds riveting.
I mean, we need to. We're doing okay. I have been looking at it.
Someone,
Yeah.
like
I
you
haven't been
said,
talking to you guys about
someone's
it.
been looking
Why
at
haven't
it.
you been
Yeah.
looking at it?
looking at it like we said.
Exactly. But I mean, and I think it is also the benefit of coaching, right? Which is like part of what we do is we help say and identify, okay, well, what are the goals and why are those the goals and what's important about those and how are we going to execute them and what's important about those things. But then it is also when the distractions start to happen, or not the distraction, but when other things come up
Yeah.
that are
Mhm.
important in the moment, to then be able to point back to, well, how does that relate to the thing that we had initially talked about as the goal, whether it's revenue being a challenge, whether it is personnel being a challenge, like whatever the big major goal is, it keeps us pointed back to the right things.
Mm-hmm. And to be able to look back at the paper and say, okay, we do need to change. So we're going to put 2 on pause for
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 months
Absolutely.
because these
Yeah.
4 other things showed up or the market shifted. And so number 2, we're going to pause. And to Lizzie's point, we
Mhm.
can do that before the end of the year. We
Yeah.
can do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can do that before mid-year. We can be doing that every month when
Yeah.
we're having conversations. It's still
I hear the
Squeaking is
squeaking.
still
I hear the
happening.
squeaking. It's gone
fine.
now. It's like every time we say it, it ends.
I know.
I think it's
Oh, I think
I
it's
don't
the
think it's-
movement of the couch.
No,
No?
it was a.
It's
See,
not
it's
the
not the
couch.
couch.
Yeah.
But it's something else
I'll
back there.
figure it
Anyway,
out.
Sorry.
well, this is good.
Anyways, but also, I think having the mid-year too, we've talked about all the things of like pivoting and doing all of that stuff, but what a great time too to be able to look and say like, hey, we did that. Like, or this is working.
For sure.
Like,
Yeah.
keep going. I mean, it's also like, how do you know, right? Without these things, like, it can also be like a really good indicator of we're
doing the
we're
right
doing
thing.
the right thing. We're
Yeah.
moving forward. This is great. Or, hey, we surpassed our goal. So, like,
Let's make it harder.
let's make it harder.
Yeah.
How energizing, too, when that's the
How
case.
energizing.
Right.
It's a really good point. Celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why is it so hard for us to remember to do that?
I know. We always talk
Wait.
about like what's wrong and what we're not doing right, but also like this is a really good way to actually see what we are doing right.
Yeah, truly.
Mhm.
Good stuff. Well, guys, mid-year check here. Mid-year.
Mid-year
Nope.
check year.
I love mid-year check year. Put it in the parking lot. If you can
Libby's
take
putting it in
anything
the
away,
room.
Libby's Schrodinger's cat Pandora box.
Yeah.
Whatever.
that's it.
Whatever that is.
Well, and if you have, I think a lot of people also, I don't know if I'm listening to this and maybe I'm new in the business, new in running my own business or anything. A lot of the times it's like mid-year check-in on what am I checking in on? I think it'd be cool to share the GST or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because annual planning sounds like
Sexy.
Well,
Does it?
Really?
Look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Annual
Good.
planning sounds like performance reviews. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mm,
It's like, yay.
Yeah.
Right. I think though, if you don't have, and I think it's fair to say that a lot of businesses, they have financial goals for the year, but they don't necessarily have an
Yeah.
annual
Strategic
a
goals.
strategic
Yeah.
plan for the
Right.
year. And I think now is a great time to go, okay, we've got the rest of these goals for the year. You can do an annual plan in
I was
July.
going to say it's
Yeah.
not too late.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Use this mid-year as that
Yeah.
opportunity
Yeah.
to begin.
Yeah, and if you find yourself like, man, I did set goals, I haven't looked at them.
Let's look.
Take a peek.
Yeah.
Take a look.
Take
Yeah.
a look.
I love it. Okay. Well, we'll figure out a way to attach the GST maybe
Yeah.
to this episode or
think
something
we
like
should.
that,
A
or
link
you
to
can
it in
reach
the
out to us.
notes.
Yeah,
If
something like that.
it's-
Yeah, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Okay.
Also, if your company wants some GST work,
Yeah, you can reach out to us.
We can help
yeah.
out.
We
Yeah,
can
we
help
can
with
help
that.
out.
Yep.
Even if you're like, what is an annual plan?
We got you.
What is a mid-year check-in? I've never heard of
We
such a
also
thing.
got you.
Yeah.
We can help you with all those definitions.
All of it.
All the
Yeah.
definitions.
Love it. Okay, ladies.
I love it.
Ladies.
Were you going to do the story at the end?
Oh yeah, your funny
yeah, what
thing.
was
No,
it?
she
It was-
No, I
doesn't
don't
remember.
remember.
No, are you kidding? She doesn't know.
It was the end of year review? Question mark.
I don't remember.
No.
All right, ladies.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
We'll bring
It
you
was about a
back.
performance review.
Performance review.
Was it?
hmm
No.
That's not there anymore.
I lost it.
Okay.
This conversation was so riveting, and I was so present with all of you guys that I
I'm sure it was
totally.
a hysterical story. All of her stories are.
They're so funny.
They're all so good.
Can't help it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure it was good. We'll share it in the notes if it was worth it.
We'll link the GST. We'll link the story.
That's right. That's
Show
right.
notes.
Lucky ducks, all of
Yeah.
you listeners. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. This was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you guys, as always, please subscribe to the As You Are podcast on all platforms, and we will see you next time.
Bye.